Oh, what's up, everybody?
It's another Thursday night, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Greg Burzynski. Did I say that right? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thanks. Happy Thursday.
Happy
Thanks for having
Thursday. Yeah, we as we so often remind everybody, we have two different shows really. We have a Thursday night show, which tends to take a direction, and then we have a Friday morning show that tends to take a little bit of a different direction, right? Not intentionally, but
we're not working blue or anything Thursday night, and Friday we're a little cleaner. It just seems to be like guests on the Thursday night seem to have a certain vibe, and we'll see if that holds true today. But
yeah, no pressure.
Dr. Greg, we were catching up before the show started, and I'm like, yeah, this will be a good one. This will be a good one.
Yeah, so let's just get into it. I want to hear about what you got, how you got here, and however you want to answer that.
Yeah, it's a real open-ended question.
Sort of,
Well, I was born.
Yeah, cool. We have that in common, actually. How neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm an internal medicine doctor by training, board certified, been doing this over 15 years. I've always thought we could do better, right? And I later went on to do an integrative medicine fellowship in Arizona. That's the one Dr. Weil runs. So I kept on opening my toolbox. I want to use everything in my toolbox to help people, right? And that's how I see medicine and longevity, if you want to call it that, right? Because I think the name has evolved a lot over the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
Even 20 years ago, I was going to the A4M, and back then it was more anti-aging medicine and different things were happening that weren't as exciting now. I think we're at a confluence with so many cool things happening, kind of like you couldn't do Uber 20 years ago. I think longevity really is going to flourish now, and I'm excited about that.
Let me ask you something real quick though, because this is something that's kind of bugged me for a while, and I don't have a clear recollection of where my perception of this was 20 years ago, right? Like I knew I was interested in it. I feel like Neo and the Matrix. I'm like, I feel like there's something else, but I didn't really start asking questions about what that thing was until probably like 15 years ago. And even then I knew a little bit. I didn't really know a lot. And it's definitely gotten bad. Now I have a fucking podcast that talks about it, right? So it's it's definitely going up. But like, what was that book? Why We're the Last Generation to Die? That was in like the 80s, I think, right? Like, or in the 90s. Like, and so like, it was a while ago. So I have to guess that the people living then were saying the same fucking thing we're saying now, right? They're like, oh my God.
Maybe not, Matt. I think Dr. Greg kind of touched on this. We tend to use words, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth. We're going to let you talk because it's you're the guest. Within that, like the words tend to transmute and then almost mean nothing after a while, right? It's anti-aging. Oh, no, it's longevity. No, it's health span. No, and they're all flavors of the same thing. It's like even when I was naming my acupuncture clinic, it was like, I don't want to use the word wellness. Why? It doesn't mean anything anymore. So you have to kind of evolve with, what you got in front of you. And I think, especially to a book that was written 15, 20 years ago, it's like, I use this example today, explaining what it was like before an iPhone to somebody who's like, my kid never not knew what an iPhone was.
My daughter asked me, Daddy, did you have iPads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have iPhones, but what about iPads? You had those, right? Of course.
I said, guess what? We even had black and white TVs. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. But like, are we in that? I guess the spirit of my question is, are we in that much better of a place now with these topics than we were 20 years ago?
I think so, 100%, because things like flying cars, that was fictional, right? Literally, you can put down an offer for a flying car, right?
Right.
It's like $300K, and maybe we'll be seeing them, right? We're going to have autonomous driving, right? We have it already in some areas, right? I have a Tesla. It's amazing, right? AI. Grok 5, I think, will be AGI in a few months, right?
Yeah, there's a whole conversation going on about that right now, too.
Right. So all these things are coming to fruition, right? So we did not have tools that could detect 50 cancers in our body, in our blood. Nobody was really doing a full body MRI back, I think, 20 years ago, right? The MRI was really new back then. So all these cool things coming along with the S curve, right? If you understand that definition. Yeah. So basically, like in 3 years, I mean, nobody knows what the world will look like, but we're going to be solving some of the most amazing problems if we don't blow up the world, of course, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah, there's
that's
always
why,
that problem, huh?
yeah, that's on the table, sadly. So, I think really so much is available. And if we make it through the next 10 years in decent shape, I mean, further amazing things will happen. So that's why it's so important to get your act together, right? If you'd like to, right?
Yeah, if you'd like to. No, and I think that, yeah, I mean, I own a technology company, so that whole like, are we dying tomorrow kind of question seems to be every day of the week now. It's like, oh my God, it's like it just never ends, and it's like it's as funny as it is intriguing, as it is crazy, as it is, it's like,
and still scary as hell. All of it, all of it at once.
I guess the scary part comes into the absolute undeniable plausibility of a lot of the worst scenarios, right? Like when you play out most of those really, really fucking bad ones, you're like, yeah, that is like, remember that book that Michio Kaku wrote, like Physics of the Impossible? And he kind of like graded things. He's like, all right, force fields are like 100 years out, right? I feel like these are like single digit years of probability. You're like on that scale, you're like, yeah, that's pretty
and
rational.
it's that convergence of technology too, right? We can think faster now because of AI, all of it.
Did you hear this guy? Who was it? They wrote a petition to stop mirror organism research, like right now, like pause it, huh?
No, I didn't hear that. No.
Yeah, so the idea of, I don't know, this is one of those weird rabbit holes that I kind of like got interested in, but the whole idea, for anyone who doesn't know about mirror organisms, it's basically you instead of winding the DNA helix right, you wind it left. And like we kind of have the tech to do this, but the whole thing is like, do we really fucking want to do that? Remember when CERN lit up and they're like, okay, we're either going to find a very cool particle thing or we're going to create a black hole. It's sort of like
right.
That's kind of
like
like
a knife's edge.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's a group of people kind of saying, yeah, can we not create the black hole right now? Like, can we do the other thing first and see how that goes?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do the fun stuff first.
Yeah. Right. But like, how would you even think to even have asked that question 5 years ago?
Exactly. You're right. I didn't think we would be having all these cool things at our fingertips, right?
Right. And you look like young enough to like, you look old enough to really know why you should do this and young enough to have a lot of energy left to do it.
Yeah. So I'll be 46 this weekend.
Oh,
so
wow.
You're
a year or two younger. We're technically Zennials, Doc.
Yeah.
Technically Zennials.
Man.
That keeps changing, though. It depends on who you talk to.
That keeps changing depending on who you ask. In a year, they'll have something every 6 months, and we're like, yeah, you're a Gen X, but you've got,
your Gen X
millennial
version
rising.
1.64.
It's debated.
So, like, how'd you go? I mean, what was your transition like to like?
Yeah, what was the breaking point? Where was the switch?
Well, like I mentioned, I was always realizing the sick care system was just wrong. I mean, our economy is fueled by it. Sadly, when I was doing my training residency, I spent 90% of my time running around a hospital dealing with these poor sick people that really, most of them didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
So that just echoed louder and louder. And, you being an acupuncturist, we have all these cool things from just years, millennia past, and we sort of found we don't need that. And so that just wasn't right. And then as, the sands of time keep going, you're sort of not living your best life and you're not 25 anymore. And you're realizing, oh man, you look at my father, for example, he's had like 5 stents in 5 years when it was in his late 70s, and everybody on his side of the family was having heart attacks. And I was like, wow, this is going to be me if I don't do something about it.
Sure.
So having kids and all that fun stuff, it just resonates louder. And even one day in clinic, I mean, it's like the universe really conspires to help you on your mission, I feel, right? When you have all these signals coming in at once, I feel. So I had this patient who was just looking amazing. He was like in his 30s, I thought. And he was actually in his mid 50s. And he was also an internal medicine doc. And I was like, whoa, I want to look like this guy, right?
Yeah, what are you doing?
So we kind of got to know each other more. He was already doing some of these things, and he told me about like rapamycin, and I was like, whoa, what rapamycin is for transplant immune suppression. Oh, let me think about this, right? So that just kind of got me more excited, right? So I went down that rabbit hole, and I figured, wow, I need to be better. and everybody can benefit. So with all these cool things happening, it just grows, I feel. So that's how I got to where I am. Opened a clinic called Restored Longevity. Before that, me and my wife were business partners, life partners, also have a concierge clinic. And we figured have a branch of that just dedicated to longevity for people that want that. So that's kind of the ethos here. And we're passionate helping people as they come in and want to have that same language, right? That same discussion, because it's something that, as you probably know, a lot of people aren't there yet, right? But for the people that are there yet, I think it's perfect, right? Some people still need to be educated. And it's one of those things that hopefully they'll reach it. But the current healthcare system is very, as you know, unacceptable, right? You get a physical exam, you get a few biomarkers, physician pats you on the back and says, I'll see you next year and keep up the good work. But very well, that guy could have a heart attack in the next couple months, and because we didn't do basic things, or maybe a cancer could knock him off or her. So I also see the population wanting that, right? Originally, it was the wives that were bringing, I feel, the husbands to the doctor because the husbands didn't want to see the doctor. But I see the opposite. I see the husbands coming in, okay? And they're passionate about this stuff. And then they get their wives to come in and they're into all the health 3.0, medicine 3.0, just staying ahead of stuff, biohacking, biooptimization, just because that's kind of like our generation's midlife crisis, I feel. Right?
Totally.
I don't think
we don't want Ferraris. We want to not feel like shit.
A stem cell injection.
We're simple people. We just want to live forever, right? I mean,
yeah. No, you're not wrong. I mean,
I don't know about that, man. Matt and I had this show where we were talking about Sinclair's lifespan, and he's like, "Won't it be amazing?" And I'm like, "Is it going to be another 100 years of this shit?"
Yeah.
Can we do something cool, or do I still got to do all the same shit?
You know what though? You look at vampire movies, right? You never met an unhappy 400-year-old vampire. Why? Because they fucking don't. I mean, they have like, they just like cool. Like they figured it out, right? It's
Oh man, they seem pretty cranky to me.
I mean, well, they kill people. I mean, there's that, but
there is that.
No, but Doc, I agree with you, man. I mean, I think that the reason why, and my take on that is because it was fucking, it's like guys like gadgets, and biohacking's basically just a gadget hole, right? Like, so it speaks to the male energy.
And even further than that, right? It's like, guess what I'm doing, right? Now you're like, you're in this elite club, know, it's like, well, if he's doing that, I can do this.
Yeah. It's,
you're getting stem cells. I get exosomes.
Yeah.
Right. It's not how much are you benching, it's what's your testosterone, what's your VO2 max, what's your body fat on the DEXA scan, right?
Yeah.
What's your biologic age?
Which is really funny that you said DEXA scan, because I actually just found mine from like 6 years ago. And I'm like, the very first reaction I had, and I'm just going to tell you, it was like, I look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in this fucking outline. I'm like, I need to fucking go back and do this shit again. Like, we might have to get this under serious control, people. And I was like, that is insane. What is wrong with you, man? But I wasn't, I was probably
like, he's an ultra marathon runner, man.
I was probably 21% body fat. Like, I mean, it wasn't like, I'm not like a rail, but like it wasn't bad. Right. And I'm probably 20% now. So it's like, I'm like not going to look that much different is my point. Like it's been, I try to keep it in a tight window. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I mean, it is competitive. It talks on all those levels. Right. But like at the same time, and Tom's on like day 5 million of his Muse, meditation streak, and all kidding aside, he's pressing 3,000, man. It's like getting up there. Right.
I mean, but that's almost like a habit. It's like, it's not even.
My point is, you're a dude, they gamified it. You fucking jumped in.
And now I can't miss. But like, we literally talked to Dr. Justin, right? Is his last name from Firm Tech. And he's got a penis ring, right? So like measuring your nocturnal erections. And he's like, you guys could have a contest. And I'm like, I think that one's almost taboo there. Like, dudes are like, I don't want to be the guy in the room that's not having enough erections.
Yeah. I mean, right.
You don't want to be a god.
But that's the perfect example of what you're saying, right? Like this guy's like, hey man, there's a direct line from your number of nocturnal erections and the strength of said erections and cardiovascular health. There's a direct fucking line, straight line.
Exactly. Canary in the coal mine.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly what he called it.
And he said he's got this ring. It's like $600, so it's not a cheap ring, but like it's got an iPhone app, and you put it on and go to bed, and gives you like a aura score in the morning. You know, you're like, wow, that's insane. Like,
I know what I want for Christmas.
I mean, seriously, yeah. I mean,
You know, and it's funny because like it makes total sense. And this is the unified, like, same thing when they're like, hey, your gums are bleeding. Guess what? You might have heart disease.
Right.
You know, and you're like, well, I better fucking floss.
yeah. So, Doc, when you have in your practice, I mean, are you at equal parts like doctor and technologist now? Because there are so many things to keep up with. And like you just nibbled on the rapamycin thing real quick.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather ask the existence of God than ask what the dosing regimen for rapamycin is. It's like, it feels like it's that like intense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't, you know, like how do you keep up with that?
That Facebook group is unhinged.
Yeah.
I might have to join it then.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we have the range, right? So we don't really know, right? And a lot of it is from the work of Dr. Green, I think.
Mm-hmm.
6 milligrams seems like a good dose for most people. We can go up a little bit. I kind of think about the gums, right? If your mouth is a little sore, maybe titrate down. So that's my understanding of it.
Well, that
Mhm.
I mean, that's great for
Nitrates.
that, and
Yeah.
thank you, by the way, for answering that. What I was actually really talking about is like, how do you keep up with the never end? I mean, now you now know that you have to talk about cock rings and nocturnal erections now, right? Like, because why not? I mean, you're in the business,
It's
right?
interesting. Every day is beautiful. You keep
Yeah.
learning new things. So patients bring you all these questions, and then you get better. You research. It's a tennis game of back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I mean, that's
every
kind
day
of
you
like
have a new
the
thing.
other side of the same coin, right? Like, how do you? I mean, is patience like a good source of new information for you?
I mean, I keep up to date. I go to conferences.
Sure.
I'm constantly looking at the newest things. Um, if a patient asks for something, obviously that's an added bonus. But I like to do my own research. For me, it's just fun. It's not even work, right? Just
Yeah.
going down all these
Sure.
rabbit holes. And is this real? How can this help me? Oh, interesting. So, and then I try it out. How do I feel? And at the end of the day, it's how does it make you feel, right? Longevity, right? Very hard to prove. But if you're feeling a little better the next day and just have that bump, that, jump in your step, I think it could be a good thing, right? So if it doesn't hurt you, especially like cold
Yeah.
plunges, right? So that's something I wasn't doing 5 years ago, but I do them now, and I hate to do them, but I love them afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, some of those things I'm still like cold plunge. I have one, and it's like I have done it. I don't love it, and I have not gotten past the. What did Dave say? Our business partner is like their
11 minutes a
third
week.
coast. 11 minutes a week is what he said. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But he's
But
basically.
I got one in the office. I haven't been in it in months.
Yeah. I mean, it's my least favorite. I'm like all in on every other weird thing you could try out, but for some reason, this one is my Everest. I can't fucking.
Man,
get
you feel
that
pretty
thing.
damn good when you get out. And I gotta
I've done
say,
cryo
like,
at your office 100 times. Like,
yeah, but cryo, like, and I love cryo, and cryo's getting cost prohibitive because the nitrogen is through the roof. But the cold plunge, I think, hits harder in a lot of ways, and you get like, look, the 40 years of research on whole body cryotherapy is absolutely there. Huge anti-inflammatory, but like if you want that rush after you're standing in the cryo for 3 minutes, for a certain amount of time, you feel like you're waiting for a bus. If you've done it enough, there is kind of this tolerance you build up, and it doesn't seem to happen in the cold plunge. Like at least personal experience.
I think part of it is where you live, right? I mean, I'm in Houston, where the summers are usually god awful. So I think that just helps when it's hot outside, and
sure.
But in the winter, definitely, I use it less.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah, when it's like 110 outside, you're like, that cold plunge is looking pretty damn.
Brilliant idea.
You can take a lap outside afterwards. You're back to room temp.
So, how much of your practice is just in the Houston area versus virtual? It seems like something that could be pretty.
Yeah, right now I actually obtained a few licenses for out of state, so we're going that business. That should be exciting. But mostly it's. Tomorrow I have some out-of-state people, but generally it's mostly the local Houston, Texas area.
And how much is how much is kind of like, look, here's where I don't want to use the word coaching because that's another weird word, but how much is guiding patients through here's what you should be doing versus you actually applying the therapies and modalities in-house, I guess?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are already doing a lot of these things. It's rarely that somebody's like, 300 pounds and says, fix me, right?
Right.
I think usually people want to do a lot of this testing and then the interpretation behind it, right? Because you can go to Function Health and get a lot of great tests, but then the interpretation I think is lacking, the execution. So a lot of that put together gives the optimal plan of execution. That's why I like to say it's best to do this with somebody like me if you're really serious about it, because I have everything that I can help you with, right? As opposed to just coaching you and things like that. And it's really a menu of options, right? Because you could spend a lot of money if you decide to go through literally every test, right? So maybe you'd rather just do this piecemeal, right? And what are your priorities, right? Because if you have a heart disease risk in your family, my goal is to make sure that that's taken care of, right? Everything else should follow, right? Because we don't want you to die, right? We don't want you to have cancer if you have a high cancer risk. So accomplishing a lot of these things, I think, should be done in sequence, right? And whatever makes sense for your personality.
Right. Yeah, I went to a concierge doc a couple years ago because I just kept getting into these nonsensical arguments with my other doctors. I was just like, it was got to be exhausting. And a couple years ago, I think you made reference to the 50 cancers. I don't know if you're talking about Grail test or not, but
Yeah.
But a couple years ago, asked my doc about it. It was actually one of the first things I asked him when I signed up with him. And he was like, yeah, don't do it. The false positives, false negatives. It was just like out of balance. The ratio was all fucked up. And then but I found out later, a lot of that was him knowing my psychology, right? He's like, look, now I took it last year and everything was cool and that was exciting, but it could have equally been not cool. And the false negatives are like 50-50, right? So like there was like a 50% chance if it was negative that it would be actually negative versus like, you know what I mean? Like, or false positive, sorry. And he's like, look, I know you better now. And I know you about your show. And I know that you have the mental fortitude to not be like, oh my God, I'm dying today, like, and make ridiculous decisions because you think like you're dying. I guess where I was going with that is like, he couldn't have made that diagnosis when he met me because he didn't know my psychology.
He didn't know you,
right?
yeah.
Like, right. And now he does. And now his decision matrix is a little different. Like, do you find that like that is true across a lot of your patients and I guess the industry as a whole as people get more comfortable with it?
Exactly. I think you need to discuss. So, by the way, if you are a bit of a hypochondriac or really concerned about this, then we'll get you through this, but there could be some stress on your end, right? And no test is perfect, right? So we layer stuff in. You could do the Swiss cheese model, right? Where you do something like that. Then there's other tests being launched that can also cover other bases, right? So if you're interested in like a full body MRI, then that could cover another layer of protection.
Right.
And now, there's tests that you can look for your esophagus, for example, if you have any early precursor lesions, cancer, right? Because the diseases in the lumen, right, and the esophagus, the colon might not be captured, right? Because they're not shedding. So it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Matt is going to be calling for an
I'm writing
endoscopy tomorrow.
Hold on, call doctor in morning. Okay. Yeah, no.
Come on down.
I mean, I took Tums for like all of college and mostly my 20s because I was drinking, I was in Manhattan. I was like having fun, right?
Sure.
Like and I thought like, this is great. I could just pop like a fistful of Tums and everything's peachy. And then my doctor said, you know what? These Tums aren't bad, but like Prilosec, that's the good stuff. So I took that for like 5 years and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And no class action lawsuits.
Yeah. Well,
no increased risk of dementia.
Yeah. Right. I'm 49. That was in my 20s. So we're talking 20 years ago, give or take. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, yeah. So now as a 49-year-old guy with a health podcast, I'm like, you know what? I have a whole different way of looking at this shit. Used to. Whole different set of questions, right?
Look, man, I'll be honest. I went to like my daughter had a party and they invited all like the families. So we're sitting there and they served Domino's and I was like, I have not had Domino's since college.
Right. It's been a minute.
And I ate a slice and I was like, this is fucking crack cocaine.
It is. Yeah.
I grew up in New York. This is not pizza, but whatever they figured out here.
Yeah, it is something.
They only have 5 pies, and I think I could get through 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I had some self-control, but it was not something I was like happy to avoid.
Yeah,
that's funny. There, I think. Yeah.
So like, do you, I guess, are you not just the president, but also a client kind of thing? Like, are you good about this in your own? Is it hard to stay on it, being in it with everybody else?
I mean, I think it's a blessing in a way. Certain things you were doing, you stopped doing, right? That's the evolution, I think, for the best. So definitely I practice what I preach to the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove by a hospital day and saw 3 doctors standing out front smoking cigarettes, and I just laughed. I'm like, it's fucking hilarious that this joke's been running for like since doctors were invented. Like, I'm like, God, this is.
Were 4 out of 5 of them smoking Marlboro?
I would think they'd be vaping. This is odd.
Yeah, you would. No, these were older guys. These were like my age and maybe plus or minus. But yeah, they weren't like kids. Now, kid doctors, if that was such a thing, like vaping all the way, like watermelon or something, cotton candy,
and some of that popcorn lung.
Yeah, and it's funny. You look at the. I went to the head shop show this past year, and the whole rage was kratom and all the chemical derivatives of kratom, right?
Mm.
And when you look at the ingredients on these pens that deliver the I cannot remember the name of that fucking molecule. It's driving me crazy.
Was it the 7 or something like that, or 708? Yeah, something.
There's a 7 in there. That's okay. You hit a nerve there somewhere. Yeah, but anyway, whatever it was, it's not just that. That's like the 4th ingredient, right? The first ones are like PEG, all this fucking gnarly bad shit. And I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, I see guys that unfortunately they think it's chewing gum, right? No big deal, but then they have a problem and they need to get off of it. I mean, that's kind of a new frontier.
Yeah. And
I think I know somebody that I think we can get on the show that's done quite a bit of research and has spoken. And it might be interesting to talk about that because, when I first heard about it, one of the things that it wasn't doing, which most opioids do, is lighting up that addiction pathway, right? The nucleus accumbens or something like that. And it's not supposed to, but that's as a whole plant. Right. This is the whole leaf. It's not just, look, we extracted this one thing. It's like chewing a cocoa leaf might not be so bad.
Turning it into cocaine.
Here in the Andes.
Ripping lines off of a stripper's ass, it gets problematic.
For sure. What'd you say, Doc? Sorry, we kind of all talked there for a second.
I'm just saying, like, if you're in the Andes chewing on those leaves, it's going to help you. It's low dose. Not a big deal.
And that's the other thing I think we lost sight of too, man. I think that's the other rapamycin sort of hole too. People are like, oh, well, if 1 milligram does this, what does 1 gram do? You're like, that's not how this works, man. But like you
with
see
everything really. Exercise too, right? You can't overdo it. You want that Goldilocks.
Yeah, we drive my daughter to school and there's this woman we see every day. And I've now seen her at the beginning of her run and the end of her run. And those places are like 6 miles apart from each other. And she's out every single day. I'm like, oh my God, like you're putting in, by my rough math, at a minimum, you're putting in a 6 mile run every day. I'm like, that can't be good, man. Like, I don't care what yardstick you're using.
Look, Matt, this is going to sound super weird, but if you ever talk to her, ask her how long she's been in AA.
Right. Yeah. No, totally.
Is she trading one addiction in for another? And that's not a shot. That is literally what I see. I've actually seen it happen quite often, right? Look, I'm not doing drugs anymore. And every day, 4:30 in the morning, I'm up in the gym for 2.5 hours before work. And it's like, look, man, I get it. You got to lift something heavy. You gotta move your body. You got to get your heart rate up. But, at some point, you're just going to break.
Yeah. I did 7 Ironman, and everyone who runs the Ironman is in recovery. It's like basically like the entire, you look around, it's like nothing but tattoos, like not just casual tattoos, like Tom style
Mhm.
tattoos, like here's
But
most of
mine
your
are
body.
casual. It just, it just so
Casual.
happens they're all over my body.
Yeah, they're just right. But it's like it's extreme things. Like I'm running an Ironman. Oh, this is my 12th, my 25th. My one guy ran 75. I think it was his 75th. I can't remember, but it was some even number thing. And I'm like, you've done 75 of these? Like, what is wrong with you, bro? Like, and he's like covered in tattoos top to bottom. And he's like, yeah, I was a, drug addict and this. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes more sense. Yeah. All clear.
Well, look,
Okay.
and ultimately it is trading in one addiction for a healthier one, but
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I told you, I found out one of the things first things I found out in my little deep dive biohack was that I have this left ventricular hypertrophy from doing cardio, like doing extreme cardio like that. Running 26 marathons and 7 Ironman, as it turns out, was not super good for me. Like it was not. An average year for me, Doc, leading up to COVID was 3 marathons and 1 Ironman and at least 2 to 4 smaller triathlons like Olympics or sprints, and then a whole bunch of century rides on the bike. And I fucking love century rides. I do those things all the time. But like that was a casual year for me, right? I mean,
Right. Yeah, I had the same problem. I got the whole body MRI last year. My knees, unfortunately, arthritic, right? I played sports, and also I didn't do what you did, but now I feel it. So
yeah.
got to think about regeneration now.
What is Dr. Greg doing to himself then for that?
Yeah.
What are we doing to the knees?
Still trying to figure that one out because it's a process, right? But
Yeah,
definitely the cool plunges help. Red light therapy, I think that's been helping. I tried the BPC 157 peptide. Mixed reviews on my end. I feel
did you do it with the TB 500 mix? That seems to be
They might try that for the next go around with it, 1 foot in.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll do something. Probably I'll do stem cells, which I think will regenerate some of the area. I've had 3 knee surgeries, so
wow,
it happens, right?
Right.
What do? They clean up stuff? They take stuff out?
Yeah, when I had a meniscus tear, it was a pretty big one, a bucket tear. So luckily I was 20 years old, so they sewed it back. And then at the same time, I had an ACL tear, a rupture. So that was put back together. So then the other knee just living life. The tail end of residency was annoying me a little bit, but we had more time, so I got to enjoy another surgery just to clean up that area. And I had a little bitty meniscus tear. So the problem is when they take out the meniscus, you're more likely to have that arthritis.
Yeah,
I was just going to ask, is this surgery causing this arthritis, or was it wear and tear?
Probably, right? So yeah, that's one of the things. Hopefully, things will get better with in time with technology advancing.
Yeah, that's a whole interesting science. I just had an MRI on my shoulder, and having somebody dissect that for me was interesting because it's like I never even thought to like ask these questions, right? Like it's just like being able to ask deeper questions is really an interesting privilege, right? You're like, now I know I could go down that rabbit hole. Might not be healthy for me, but I could have worse hobbies, right? I mean,
always we can have worse. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So that's interesting. So let me ask you this: you have a pretty front row seat here. Where do you paint like a 5-10 year picture here? What do you see happening?
What's the next cool stuff coming down the pipe? What are
assuming we don't die? Like as we already have that caveat here for the night.
All going smoothly, right? So
we're not dead.
We're gonna have
what's next?
Yeah. All this data I think is just going to be jumbled into an avatar of us, right? With all the technology just continuing to be better, so we'll have really just this avatar of us where we're going to see everything that's wrong with us, and then how do we figure out, right? So our sensors will be getting better, right? Like the Aura ring I have this year, I paired it with the Stello CGM, so there'll be just constant versions of that'll capture stuff that's wrong with us. So we're doing blood tests now that are getting more biomarkers, but hopefully these blood tests will be way better, way quicker. And just put into that avatar. And from there, with all the AI, beautiful magic happening, discoveries, I think we're going to have things that I'm complaining of, like the joint aches, hopefully going away, obesity being optional, and having the ability to have muscles, right, without doing anabolic steroids, right? I think these are the cool things, right? So
myostatin inhibitors, are we talking about? Are we?
Perhaps, yeah, something like that, yeah. So
can you get me those?
Yeah. I'll give you.
Friend.
Yeah. You know
I
what?
don't want to be the first, 1,000 person, right? I want to get this. Of course, other people should.
Of course, other people should do this first. Yes, I
Right.
agree.
They don't. It's because everything's exciting until it's not. So there has to be an
Yeah.
element of safety, right? Which I hope AI can help us with, maybe. So I think just the regeneration, all these technologies coming together and being so amazing is where we're going. And then doctors right now are so one-dimensional typically. So we'll have, probably like a Maximus, Optimus Tesla robot, basically doing majority of the work and then cooperating with the doctor, kind of, signing off on things, right? I see that as the reality.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on those things for sure. And I think this avatar idea is something that everyone keeps kind of envisioning too. And I can't tell if this is like a really good marketing meme that's happening around the internet or if it actually does just sort of logically make sense. I think it's the latter, but I mean,
Well, even if it's not a picture of you as a true avatar, having all those biomarkers in
Sure.
a system that is intelligent enough to say this is what all of this means together is something that, like, and I think this is the weird thing about specializing it as far as Western MDs do, right? It's like, yes, I want the guy that only looks at kidneys all day. But is he missing something because
Right.
he's only looking at the kidney, right? And with AI, you have the bird's eye and the ground view.
Right.
Exactly.
And N of one is really the only, I think, logical conclusion of medicine, right? Like
I think
understanding
so.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? And
I mean, I think everybody should have a high quality genomic analysis, and that kind of can get a lot of the guesswork out, right? Because we're, like you said, N of one, we're all snowflakes, right?
right. You know what sucks about that genome test though is, and this is coming from a guy with like some means and also access through people we have had on the show, it's still really fucking expensive. Like, like to get like a proper full genome done. I mean, it's not cheap. And you're like, okay, that's a lot.
Well, and also,
Right.
I mean, the
You do it once,
interpretation
at
of it.
least, right? Yeah, the interpretation's key, but that's a test you ideally do once and you're done.
No, listen, I understand that, but I think Tom, what we saw like $2,500 or something for like,
Yeah,
and
it's about $3,000
Yeah.
for,
yeah,
I think, the best company that is in the space.
yeah, and you're right. To fair point, and I should probably we should call that out. It is kind of a once in a lifetime thing. Like you don't need
Well,
to do this more than
I mean, it's a deal if you compare it to what my daughter had, right? So 6 months ago, right? She had a nursemaid elbow sprain. So
Uh,
her elbow popped out. Not the biggest thing in the world. We took her to a freestanding ER. Okay.
oof. Right.
They popped it back in. No big deal. Took an x-ray just because to make sure, because she was a little older. She's 6. Guess how much the insurance charged this? No medicine was given. We had United.
20-minute visit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a gander. How much they charged?
$5,000.
8,000.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. Why even have insurance at that point? You know,
Exactly.
like what would it?
And we were there at that same ER before it was bought out by a big corporation. And the whole visit was $300. But when we went there, we already paid like $300.
Right.
So then they send you a bill for, I think it was $2,500.
So you're right. I mean, it is a deal there. I mean,
Well,
I agree.
and if you think that long-term component of it, like here are these major things that could come up for me. But if I know this and I play with the epigenetics and I do some things to sidestep it, you might be getting away from 5-6 stints, some weird cancer, you know.
Exactly. Recently, one gentleman did it, and he understands now why he has aneurysms, right? He wants to poster, and that's going to help his family. So he's unique in that way, had a really rare genomic alteration. And the cool
Wow.
thing about that is it gets updated in time. So it's not static. So as our technology gets better, he'll also learn new cool stuff.
Right. So that's wild. That's a crazy story, actually. And that's the part that almost, I mean, look, at the end of the day,
Matt's
I
about
know.
to write a check.
No, I want to know, but at the same time, sometimes like that's a lot of information to download, right? You're like,
But I like the fact that as new knowledge about the genome comes out, as we get a better understanding, you don't need to remap it. You already have it. You just apply that knowledge to you.
and I think it's cool because this could be in its fully realized form. This is the death of orphan diseases, right? Like it's like there isn't a such thing as that anymore, right? It's just, no, we could make a drug. Yeah, well, then you can
Exactly.
make a drug for you. Like that's it. Like
Right.
here's
Right.
the Dr. Greg drug. Like it's different than
Right.
the
Or
not
the
Dr.
dose
Matt
that
drug.
I need versus this other guy. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I still love that show, The Expanse, where the guy had the anti-cancer thing like a insulin pump, like just on the back of his arm, and it was just a bio engine creating the anti-tumor thing for his exact cancer, and he just wears it like a insulin patch. Like, and I'm like, yeah, why not? You know, just need the right bioreactor to do exactly what you need, and it's on board. Like, you know, I'm like, okay. I mean, it's in theory a pretty simple idea, right? I know it's years off in terms of practicality, but I mean, when you look at a show like that, you're like, yeah, why aren't we doing that again? Like that seems pretty cool.
I mean, part of it's regulation, right? So in the tech world, right, I think
Yeah.
things advanced quickly because the regulation's easy comparatively, right? So here we need to change that. To change
Yeah.
that, we need to change the way medicines and everything have been improved. It's kind of like the phalanx of years ago, right? In war, as opposed to using drone warfare now, right? Totally different setup.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I don't think, the intention of regulations is to keep people safe. But when
Sure.
the medicine is moving infinitely faster than it used to, and you can extrapolate data better, and you can get more volunteers, and you can do more tissue testing, and you don't require human studies as much, you should be able to cross that line faster. And the government is never going to be able to keep up with the speed that everyone else is ready to go, which is kind of, it's a weird thing, right? Like even when they're trying to do the right thing, like I just don't want you to die from not knowing.
But I
Yeah.
think that's the death. That's the death of regulation too, because if you're dealing with true N of one medicine, I'm not making a drug for the masses. I'm making a drug for Dr. Greg. Period.
Well, yeah, but at the
And if
same
Dr.
time, they
Greg
would
signed
try
it
and
off-
make sure that
Well-
was even the process of doing that was regulated.
No, I get you.
Right. And it has to be, what are we treating, right? Are we treating a pimple or something that is going to kill you, right? So that consent, right? That idea that, well, what are my options and how bad is this? So I'm willing to take a risk, right?
Right.
So that should be a personal choice.
Yeah.
It definitely should be. I mean, but like, look, that Grail test was what, $700-800? I can't remember what it was. I think it was like $750.
I
or
think-
something.
I think you got a discount, man.
And I got a discount because they had a deal with the MD VIP, right? Like, and like that was the discounted rate. I'm like, fuck, are you serious? This is not cheap. But I was,
Well, you were like, I'm going to do that every year. And I'm like, maybe every 5.
yeah, no, I've adjusted my thoughts on that. I'm like, yeah, you know,
I think though, it's like a Tesla Roadster model where initially it's expensive. It's going to get cheaper. It's kind of a race to the bottom eventually, right? You get more
Yeah,
of the whole body
yeah,
in the
yeah.
right places popping up, and initially expensive, initially 0.1% of the population, and then everybody can do it, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think that lab on a stick idea, although that was a fucking disaster, put the
I got it. You know how many books were like, look at what this
Yeah.
is going to do for everybody. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's nice, Peter Diamandis.
Yeah.
You were wrong.
But it planted the seed, though, didn't it? It really planted
totally
the seed.
did, but-
Yeah.
And, and honestly, the promises were clearly wrong. The
sure.
timetable was clearly wrong, but it doesn't sound remotely insane.
Yeah,
Like
no,
that, we might
totally.
have just been off with the tech. It might have been the wrong company doing it.
Well, it's definitely the wrong company doing it. There's no
Well, it's
question about
definitely
that.
the wrong CEO at the very least.
That part, we could check that box.
That one,
Yeah.
she in jail? No.
I
She
yeah,
is, yeah.
I
Okay,
think
all
she
right.
is,
In
or on her
Texas,
way.
actually,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, maybe don't give her another crack at it.
Yeah, no, like we don't need her back in the picture, that for sure, right? So that's a good question though. Of the techs, I know you got to love all the children equally, right? But like of all the techs out there, is there one that kind of like gets you jazzed more than any of the other ones?
You mean like monitors?
Like a treatment or a technology or something?
Yeah,
Is there
like,
a-
what are you
is there
like?
like a
Yeah, I
rabbit hole
love
you're
doing
just
this.
really
This
into?
is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, really, the simple stuff is, I think with like a DEXA scan, you can learn so much about your body,
Yeah.
right? So that's something that it was not taught in residency. We learned about DEXA scans, but purely about just the bones, right? But if you get
Ah.
a DEXA full body scan, I mean, you learn how much visceral fat you have, muscle, bone health, I mean, I think that's a great beginning. So for $100,
Yeah, those have
I think
really
it's
come down in
physical,
price. Talk about
right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, you could do that every quarter, and then stuff that's easy, right? Like red light therapy. 3 years ago, I thought it was nonsense, and I love it. I did it before this.
right.
Got a little pick me up, right? So it
I
doesn't
bought a
really cost
Juve
that much.
panel back in the day, and I was so pissed off because like 6 months later, I'm like, you mean I can
Yeah.
get the same panel without the words Juve on it? And now, like, I know Matt's got two sitting in his background. I got them over here.
Yeah.
They're the home units are just as good as the medical grade ones, and
Mhm.
even a sauna, right? Like,
Yeah,
Look,
I
exactly.
man,
actually
all this
just
data.
hung my red light therapy outside of my IR sauna, so I'm just telling you, I'm it's all. And I've spent 2 weekends building some custom contraptions so the panels can slide side to side and like this way, so that you could actually position any shape of human in there at whatever distance from your skin you want it. I mean, it's real nerdy. It's deep down the rabbit hole, man.
One day I too will have sauna.
They're really coming down in price too, man. You
Yes,
can
yeah,
pick those things up for way cheaper. I
Right.
mean, quarter price
So
from where they were 5 years ago.
it's a time thing, right? If I did all these things, I mean, I couldn't go to work. My kids would suffer, right?
Yeah.
well,
Kinda
that was all the influencers, and
Yeah.
they're like, let me tell you my routine, and I was like, that was 8 hours of self care.
I mean, yeah. I'll touch grass. I'll take a few deep breaths. I'll do a cool plunge. Get some stretching. But then if I want to do the sauna, I mean, I should probably do a workout, right? I mean, I things to do, so I have to kind of prioritize, right?
Well, you
Yeah, it
got
would
to
be
do the
great if you
sauna
didn't
right
have to earn a
after.
living.
Yeah, right. You do have to
Well, I
sauna
have
according to
on a mat. I have a sauna little sleeve.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing, right?
sure.
Well, even here, this is what I got in the office down here. Is I got one of these little pop-up ones,
Okay.
and I literally pop it right where this chair is and sit here and do paperwork and write. And look, is it the greatest one? No. Was it under $300 on Amazon? Hell yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll sit
Am
in
I
my
using the
sauna.
hell out of it? Absolutely. Will
Yeah.
it die soon? Probably.
Yeah. And I'll sit in my sauna for like 45 minutes and just check email. Like I'm like, all right, I need a good 40 minutes of email anyway. So fuck it. I jump in the sauna. But you have to constantly be thinking about this stuff in order to make that reality, right? Like you have to be
In
like,
a
all
way,
right,
yeah.
I need to go to the basement now because that's where the sauna is. But look how much more room I have right here at my desk. Like I could also stay here. Like, but
This is comfortable.
yeah. Right. Not hot.
Then have you heard of the Rux Viva machine? The
No.
stroboscopic light therapy. This is very interesting.
So we are friends now. I'll call him a friend with the Neurovisor.
Okay, so that's like Neurovisor. Now, if you ask the Rux Viva people, say it's kind of like the Bentley version of that.
No, yeah, and it's like a $20,000 light, right?
It's 5,000. So
Okay, all right. Oh, good.
Yeah. I have one in clinic. But the problem is you can't check your emails when you do that.
No,
I can check my
You
emails.
get blasted in the face with ridiculously bright lights.
It might not end well, right? So the journey will be way different. So that you have to be pretty much just focused on that fun thing. So that's like 20 minutes where nobody can bug you, right? So it can be 40 minutes, of course, but again, the time, right? Things to do.
You know what I've noticed though with my Neurovisor, I can do an 11-minute session and also do 11 minutes of stretching on my lower body, like and kind of leaning.
You're moving around with that.
Yeah, well, because you guys,
You gotta play with the psychedelic settings, man. I can't go anywhere. I'm floating in a sea of pink colors, and I don't know where I am. It's beautiful.
I'm not talking about big movements. I'm talking about micro movements, like spread your legs and do a deep stretch to the.
And look, man, I'm still like, I'm gonna call Garnet and be like, dude, I'm taking the headband off and hooking the Muse up in here so I can get a twofer.
My alpha recharge when I do that is through the fucking roof. But
are you doing an alpha meditation though, or are you doing something else?
No, I did gamma, and I did one of the self ones. But what happens is my alpha peak like disappears. Peak alpha is like 0.
Yeah,
it's like literally like it's just tanks. But my alpha recharge is like pinned out. Like it's like can't go high, right?
I totally get that. I totally get that. And I like playing with the different meditations for that exact reason. It's like, let me see how I can fuck up the Muse today.
Yeah, doctor's like, these guys are fucking a little bit weird.
You guys are great.
But to Dr. Greg's point, I think I love, and we've joked about this before, that it's not necessarily the biggest, most expensive things. It's the consistent things that you do that you can incorporate into your lifestyle. The only problem is it's not sexy enough to get on a New York Times bestseller list if you write a book that says, hey, eat decent food, sleep enough, and move your body. It's a flip book at best,
Yeah. Dr. Greg's out of business at that point. He's like, well, fuck, everyone's healthy. I don't need it. No one needs me.
I think I'll still have people, but
yeah, I'm sure.
No, you definitely will. You definitely will. And I think it's crazy now that we have the technology to really look at like epigenetics. Like 20 years ago, who's talking about epigenetics except for a handful of like lab rats?
Yeah, exactly. That's something I'm passionate about. So I try to keep up with the newest things. And there's actually some medicines which can probably reverse our epigenetic age, which I think we'll probably be using soon. So that's kind of cool.
That is interesting. Yeah, I took an epigenetic class on Coursera years ago, and just because it was like free, and I was like, okay, a lot of it was over my head. I don't have a science background, and I think they probably didn't expect a guy with a figure drawing degree to take a epigenetics class, but it was really fascinating to see how those levers work and get expressed in all that whole process. And I'm like, and of course my brain starts going exactly where everyone's is. It's like, well, if these are just light switches, then fucking turn that one off, turn this one on. Like, what are we waiting for? Start flipping switches. I know it's not that easy, obviously, but it's very exciting to think about that, where that could go if you actually did have that.
Exactly.
It's the same as sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Greg.
No, it's all about the right nuance, right? Because you can use the piano board example, right? Well, this guy played Chopin, but if you don't know how to put everything together, then you could really hurt somebody, right? So that's kind of epigenetics. So I see if you just kind of go,
start banging on it,
banging on the keys, right? That's not going to do good. So you could create a lot of problems, right? Genomic instability, things like that, which not good.
I think that's the other side of the coin from that mirror organism thing, right? It's like, okay, if you fuck with biology sufficiently, like really bad and weird and unpredictable shit could possibly happen here. Like,
Yeah, but it could or nothing, right? I mean, the first like Dolly, the clone sheep, she died. Why? We didn't understand epigenetics, right? I'm still waiting for somebody to bring back a velociraptor. I like let's do it. I read the Michael Crichton book before I saw the damn movie. I'm like, you idiots, we can't even do that. Come on, I dare you.
We got the wolves back, so that's great. And then hopefully a woolly mammoth, so that'll be exciting.
That woolly mammoth thing is intriguing. They've been threatening to do that for a minute now, though. Like, I want to get this thing. I want to see it at the zoo. Like, bring this.
The first thing. No, the first thing somebody's going to do is eat that fucking thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're going to bring that back, and somebody's going to be like, "I will give you millions of dollars to barbecue that."
Oh my god, it's funny. Yeah, and
I'm just telling you, a billionaire has already got like one in a like a fish tank somewhere that we don't know about.
Yeah. Probably from China, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably.
So, Doc, what's up? What's on your radar for next? Where are we going to send people to hear more about you? Like, what's what do you got going on?
Well, if you'd like to learn more about what we do, check out our clinic on our website, restorelongevityclinic.com. You can see a bunch of the social media stuff on there as well. And give us a call. If we're a right fit, do a discovery call.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I don't think you know this, but our Dr. Dave, which is our other host, is actually in Austin. I think I read you went to UT Austin, yeah?
I did. I have 7 years. Beautiful place.
Yeah. So he's there, and we are actually organizing our first Irreverent Health in-person event that is going to be in Austin, actually, which is funny. It's going to be Irreverent Health versus, what is it, a chiropractic or something like that? I forget what it was. In some kind of...
No, it's one of his other buddies. We're playing like weird games and stuff, I think.
It's like some Olympics for middle-aged people. Yeah.
It's whatever you can find on the Ocho. That's what we'll be playing.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe
that can happen.
Yeah, we're still working on that. I was going to say, if we when we get that thing together, I'd love to.
Yeah, we'll reach out.
And if you're in the neighborhood, it'd be love to put a handshake to a face kind of thing. Yeah. Plus, you'd love these guys, man. I mean, they're
a fun
all,
group
like,
of people.
Fun group, and like right down your
and
alley.
up to your alley with everything you've said today. They're all marching right behind you.
And a lot of these guys are basically my mentor in a lot of this, because they, that network is pretty deep, and these guys are real, which is also really comforting to know. We didn't talk about this too much, but like, the people that are into this shit now are like nearly med school competent, because like they do all this research. They really understand this thing inside out and backwards. And then they go to a doctor to try to understand it more. But I don't know. Do you see that with your patients too? Do you get people that are just like really
100%? I have some very smart questions being thrown at me.
Right.
So,
yeah. And that shit didn't happen 30 years ago, 20 years ago, right? Like people went in there like, Doc, I'm sick. Make it go away.
Well, I think partially it's our generation. I think we're the ones carrying the torch there. Like we were the ones, the fuck you, I won't do what you tell me kind of things. And certainly like, we're the age of the Golden Girls when they started filming the fucking Golden Girls.
I know, that's tragic.
Like, that's insanity, man. It's like, we didn't look like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
Dr.
like
Craig
Tom
looks
Cruise,
like
right?
25, man, this guy.
Yeah, he definitely looks a lot younger than us.
He's aging well. Yeah, so.
Oh, thank you guys.
Doc, listen, it was awesome talking to you, bro.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun,
I would love to check you out in Texas. Would definitely keep that on the radar. And don't go anywhere when we say goodbye, but thanks again for coming, man.
Fun times.
Yeah. Good night. Take care.
Good night.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.